All right, so let's cut through the noise. Everyone keeps talking about Frederick County and Howard County, and they are overlooking my favorite place to sell, and Mike's too, for very good reasons. We're gonna dive into a hidden gem county that you might be completely overlooking, and a couple of reasons why you should not be sleeping on it.
2025 is the year for Carroll County. Carroll County is what we're gonna be talking about today. We're gonna go through everything, why people are moving into Carroll County, especially from the city and from out of state.
I've had clients who are dead set on the Hereford zone or areas of Frederick or Columbia, and they have ultimately decided that they're going to land in Carroll County. Now, my background is huge in Carroll County. That's where my husband's family's from. I live pretty close. My kids go to school there, so I know a lot about Carroll County, but I have been shocked at who is buying in Carroll County and why, and that's what we're gonna share with you today.
So if you are a stickler for square footage price, then you're gonna find a value here in Carroll County.
Yeah, if you're really worried, if you're cost sensitive at all, but you don't want to trade a lot of what you're looking for in a home in terms of size or land, Carroll County should be at the top of your list.
The average sales price as of midway point here in 2025 is about a $420,000 house.
You compare that to Baltimore County, you're over 600. Montgomery County, forget about it, you're almost at 700. You're looking at 30 to 40% savings on these neighboring counties. And that price per square foot is continuing to go up, but right now it's still not there. So what we're finding is I have a lot of buyers that are starting in Baltimore County or Howard County and ultimately not finding what they want, getting priced out, having really competitive offers that are still not being chosen. And they take a second look at Carroll County and they realize, oh, the commute might not be as far as I thought, and I'm getting a lot more house for my money. So taking a second look at this county has afforded a lot of my buyers to move into an area that they wouldn't have considered, and they find the trade-off of commutability definitely worth what they're getting in terms of their house.
Speaking of location, a 4-bed, 3.5 bath, or let's call it 3 bath, is gonna cost you right around $600,000 or so in, let's say, Columbia. Whereas if you're in Carroll County, basically anywhere in Carroll County, that same house is going to be under $500,000. That's a huge difference, especially in your monthly payment.
Thinking about relocating to Baltimore? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it all down below.
From top employers to best hospitals and a boatload of other things, all the stuff you'll need to know before making the move to in and around Baltimore. The best part, this guide is entirely free. Just click the link in the description at the top pinned comment. Hope this helps.
So when we talk about location, people think, oh, isn't Carroll County in the middle of nowhere? It really depends. It's a big county. So if you're commuting to areas in Howard County or even DC, and you're in the Sykesville, Eldersburg side of Carroll County, there's a commute there that makes sense. If you are commuting to Baltimore City or Baltimore County and you're in Finksburg or Hampstead, there's a commute there that makes sense. If you're in Westminster proper, there's a really great downtown area with restaurants and shops. So if you like that Main Street living, that option also exists in Westminster. So depending on where your commute is and what you're trying to put together in terms of lifestyle, there are a lot of options, and some areas of Carroll County are closer than others. So we can help direct you, depending on where you're working, hey, what your commute is gonna look like, and is it worth it adding another 15, 20 minutes to get what you really want in terms of lifestyle? A lot of people are finding the answer is yes.
Here's some examples of timelines and commutes that you can expect when living in Carroll County. If you're in Eldersburg and you need to commute to Columbia, you can expect a 30 to 35 minute drive. And then if you're in Westminster and you need to go over to Towson in Baltimore County, you can expect roughly a 40-minute drive. If you want to commute from Mount Airy to, let's say, Frederick, you can expect only a 20-minute drive. So that's really not that much. So, and then if you're commuting down to DC, you can use the I-70 cut through, which is the 270, or some of the MARC options from the Frederick station.
One thing we found that makes this area an option is the way we work. People are not necessarily going into the office 5 days a week. So that urban spread has really touched all areas that are in and outside of the Baltimore and DC areas. And Carroll County is definitely one of those rising stars in terms of where people want to land and the lifestyle that they can afford and really just enjoy a quieter setting. So the commutes have changed and drivability has changed, which makes this a very affordable and very attractive option.
So the question is, okay, yeah, I want to live in Carroll County, but where do I get my groceries? Where do I go to Target? Well, the good news is Westminster has all of that. So you have no problems getting to all the amenities that you're traditionally used to. Say if you're currently living downtown or maybe somewhere in Baltimore County or in a different state. All of this is very easily accessible and you're not just out in the sticks as some people might like to think.
So Carroll County has a Sprouts Market, there's a Giant, there's a Weis, there's all of the big box grocery stores in that sense. There's also a Starbucks and a Dunkin' Donuts. There's actually 2 Starbucks now. They're all of the major restaurants like Texas Roadhouse, Applebee's, Buffalo Wild Wings, and then a bunch of local chains. There's a Cinco de Mayo, there's a Papa Joe's, which is a local taco joint, and then there's some local restaurants on Main Street that we've touched on, as well as some local shopping. You have your big box shopping like Target. There's also a mall that still has a department store or 2 in it. So there's definitely options that can keep you in Carroll County, and we joke that once people move there, they really only leave for their commute. Speaking of which, if you are one of those commuters, you're going to be able to run errands close to your work as well. So that's what a lot of people find, that if they are missing something in the county, they are able to pop out while they're going to work. If we switch over to the Eldersburg, Sykesville side of things, there's a whole other list of restaurants and big box shops that are available there, including things like Ulta and a Walmart. So there's options that way. Hampstead and Finksburg are going to be a little bit more residential, suburban. So there's a Main Street in Hampstead. It doesn't have any big shops, but there is some small shopping, some dining, some coffee shops. And Finksburg is strictly suburban. The best you're going to find there is like one small bistro and a Papa John's.
And maybe a Royal Farms. That's probably it.
Yep. So lots of options in the county and lots of ways that you can stay there and enjoy that on nights and weekends. Hey guys, it's Kelly. I'm here with Mike as well. And as much as I love making these videos, there's one thing I love even more, and that's helping families and people from all across the country make a move here to Baltimore. I moved here about 20 years ago and I've never looked back. I love helping countless families make the move as well. So whether you're coming out next week, next month, or even next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here on the screen, and I've linked the description in case you missed the on-screen pop-up. Look forward to helping you and your family make the move to Baltimore. If you're looking for lifestyle, which we find a lot of our clients are, if you're in Carroll County, Westminster is kind of going to be the heart of what you're doing. So the Downtown Partnership in Westminster has created a menu of calendar activities throughout the year that includes a jazz fest, an oyster stroll, a wine stroll. These are all things that take place on the Main Street. There's also races every year if you're a runner. There's walks. There's just a lot going on Main Street in Westminster to get involved with, and that draws people from all over the county and surrounding counties. There's also a winery where Old Westminster Winery is nationally acclaimed, and they have a lot of activities and things that you can do to enjoy time out on their farm. There is also an ag center where they have a lot of fun farm activities for the whole family, and it's beyond just agriculture. There's just a lot of stuff going on there. That's all in Westminster. Sykesville has First Fridays and farmers markets, and Hampstead has a ton of sports leagues. So if you're a sports family, you're gonna find yourself in Hampstead regardless of if you live there or not. Even if you're in Baltimore, Howard County, you're gonna find yourself in Hampstead and see that. So there's just things going on in every part of Carroll County that you can get involved with. And like we said, the proximity to those other areas is also still very accessible.
And we know Maryland is pretty much known for crab cakes and football. So not to be forgotten is our D3 friends at McDaniel College, where you can spend Saturday afternoons catching a football game as well.
If you're wondering about education, there are lots of options in Carroll County. Carroll County is known for its public school, as is the entire state of Maryland. But if you're in the Manchester Valley School District, you're looking at 9s and 10s out of 10s. Westminster is now an 8 and out of 10 for the high school. Winters Mill is an 8 or 9 out of 10. These are by greaterschools.org. If you're looking at some of those websites, you're going to see really high marks there. There are also a couple of smaller private schools. There's Gerstel Academy, and then there's some elementary school options available as well. So Carroll County not known a ton for the private schools because they don't need to be, because their public schools really get such high remarks. So if you're interested in a school and you have a particular age that you're looking for, we can show you, the schools that perform really well, all the way from elementary all the way up to high school.
Now for the question of the day. For those of you looking to move within the state of Maryland, you're already here, you want to move to a different part. What part do you want to move to? Do you want to move from the city, out of the city, from Baltimore County to Anne Arundel County, Annapolis to Frederick? Let me know in the comments. I'm extremely interested. Get an understanding of where people are moving within the state. Even better, give me a call, shoot me a text. All my information is right on the screen here. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Now let's get into the nitty-gritty in terms of the future potential for the Carroll County area. Just over the last couple years, we've seen 6 to 10% growth year over year. That's pretty good, especially if you've gotten in obviously in the beginning, but this trend is continuing up and up. There's no end in sight of this trend. One of the key factors in this is all the building that is being done in and around the area. So we've talked about Baltimore County countless times and the lack of building that is being done in and around that area. Well, here to the west is Carroll County, and they are actually putting in some of these newer homes, larger homes, anything from some small townhomes all the way up to these McMansions.
It's one of the areas where it is still more rural, so there is land. Farmers are selling some of their land off, and there's less protected land than there is in some of the surrounding counties. So there's an ability for builders to come in and build beautiful neighborhoods. So if you are interested in a new build or new construction, you want to choose all of those features, this is a great place to do that. So definitely reach out to us. We have great relationships with the builders who are building on single lots and also developing communities there.
And if you're an investor, there actually is some multi-family living situations and duplexes, triplexes that are available in and around Carroll County.
Surprisingly, the college student population loves that situation, and that's going to be in the Westminster area, but also throughout Eldersburg, Sykesville, there are multi-unit options throughout. So it's a good place to invest. So let's just dive into a little bit more specifically who this is for and who it is not for. So I would say Carroll County is a great place for anybody who's been priced out of Montgomery or Frederick or Baltimore and really want to be able to find exactly what they're looking for. This is for you. If you are a family that's ready to stretch out a little bit and have some breathing room, this is for you. If you want peace and long-term growth, this is also for you. If you're an investor and you're looking for a little ROI, or maybe you're not actually an investor, but you're a family who wants to build wealth through real estate, this is a good place to put down some roots and ultimately benefit from that in a couple of years. Let's talk about who it's not for.
This is not really for daily commuters. So if you're somebody that needs to jump on the train every day, let's say you need to get down to Baltimore and you need to commute between Baltimore and DC continuously almost every day. Probably not for you. If you want to be out at a bar every single night, going clubbing. Well, I should say, but maybe clubbing or things like that. This is not for you.
Not a big nightlife scene in Carroll County.
If you want any of the public transportation that you're maybe used to, especially if you're currently living in the city, you're not going to find really anything like that in Carroll County. There are some options, but really your best public transportation is probably going to be an Uber.
And even that, I would say, is a little more limited still. It's growing, but it's still getting there. And that brings us to our last point. This is an up and coming area. The prices are still going to be going up. And we say up and coming because up until 2 years ago, Carroll County had an overall churn rate, which means the amount of people that are moving out of the county of only 3%, which is extremely low compared to the rest of Maryland, which is close to 17 to 20%. So that number keeps going up as more people move into the area. And as more people move into the area, we're seeing more amenities, we're seeing more Ubers, we're seeing the Sprouts. So you have a chance to grow with a community that the equity and the desirability is still growing, which is a huge benefit if you're moving to the area.
With all that being said, inventory is getting tight. So if you want to be in the know, maybe some of the stuff that's off market, make sure you comment below off market so that you can stay on our list with all those properties. Or if you just want a personalized plan to get into Carroll County, give us a call, shoot us a text, and we'll be sure to set that up with you.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Mike. Hit that notification bell, subscribe below, and we'll see you in the next video.